Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful morning it is here on Djuma Private Game Reserve. Look at those for some spectacular colours and a big cloud bank slowly closing the window. But lovely burnt orange skies. Another stunning morning out here in the Lowveld bush. My name is Ben, and on camera I have got BK with me, and this morning I am adding Wendy. It's been a very quiet morning so far in terms of bird noises, but the woodlands kingfishers are just waking up, the sparrows are calling, one or two francolins, and we had distant audio of lions about an hour ago, which we're sort of on our way in that area to see if we can follow up. But for now, we're just appreciating this rather spectacular stripe of sunrise, which is just beginning to develop on the eastern horizon. Not a bad way to start any day. We've got a lovely yellow-billed hornbill who's sitting fairly motionless on top of this termite mound here. I was just waiting to see whether we were going to see any sort of knocking behaviour, because often first thing in the morning you'll see the hornbills hanging around termite mounds waiting patiently for the dwarf mongoose, who may or may not be sleeping in there, to come out and forage, because they do have a little symbiotic relationship whereby the hornbills will follow the mongoose around and benefit from any of the little insects or whatever else it is that the mongoose are chasing, little arthropods that manage to flee from the little mongooses. Then the hornbills will mop up the excess, and they're quite well known for waiting patiently for the mongooses to come out, but they are also equally well known that if the mongooses are having a bit of a sleep in, this will upset the hornbill and he will start tapping at the mound and calling and trying to rouse them like an alarm clock. Makes me think of when my parents used to try and drag me out of bed to get to school on time. But whether or not he may just be having a perch there, because it was strangely cold this morning, or cool certainly. I've actually got a fleece on for the first time in a few days. And of course these termite mounds do keep the warmth from the sun yesterday. It's absorbed by that nice solid soil, almost like cement. And that means it's a little bit warmer than the surrounding area, and assuming this is an active termite mound, which I don't think it is because there's quite a few holes in it, but an active termite mound would also be creating its own heat because of all the decomposition going on by the fungus gardens inside and the general sort of release of metabolic heat of potentially millions of termites. And I think there he is in front of us. We're quick, he's going to stop. That's very good. And there he is, fluffy ears, is here. Beautiful Marips. He's on a bit of a mission. Just crossed over Leadwood, in between Leadwood and Mumba and that sort of area. It's quite thick in here. Well, it's thick everywhere after the rains. But at least we've got a brief visual of him. Stay right behind that bush. So I'm not going to move unnecessarily. I'm sure he'll pop back into view in a moment. If it looks as if he lies down, we'll of course reposition. But great to see Maribs. I know he had an impala kill that Tess saw him with a couple of days ago. A stunning profile. See something, boy? Look at that tail twitching. What have you seen? You see anything in front of him, BK? The way his posture's changed, very upright, very alert, and that twitching tail suggests maybe he's seen something that interests him. You hear the rattling testiculars know that he's here, or that meep, meep, meep. Yo! Amory, I'm glad we made your dad. If he launched himself over that log, I don't know, maybe there was a little bird or something, or a francolin there, but whatever it was that he went after, I don't think he got it. No, he's just strolling on through the bushes now. Yo. Jeez, there's all sorts of stuff I can't see whilst we're driving. I said to BK when we started following him, I said this has got disaster written all over it, but we'll do what we can for you. But there is a drainage line, I think, somewhere through here that he's headed towards, and there's going to be no hope there.
So we have found ourselves the nice big breeding herd of buffalo, and they're not too far from the Northern Territories. They actually, I think, according to the tracks, they actually went under the tunnel into the Northern Territories, and they've returned now onto this side. But these are one of the animals that you would say really don't mind this kind of cold weather. They're very thick-skinned, and so they don't really mind the change of weather, especially with the colder side of things, when it's rain and drizzly like this. And we've seen, I'm sure you would have seen with Nick at Kariga, when it's very hot, they do like to wallow in the mud to cool off. But when it's cool like this, I think they're probably at their most comfortable. And there won't be too much wallowing in the mud in this kind of weather. They'll probably be more active and feeding a lot, as we're seeing here. This is a younger one that's also made his way, or making his way down towards us. He seemingly was following on behind Corley. He's taken a little bit of an interest in us, so let's just see what he gets up to. Hello, big boy. I think he's following in on the smell of Corley. He's not in must, doesn't look like it. So he shouldn't be in a bad mood, unless he's had a little bit of an altercation with some of the other elephants, but he looks nice and relaxed. Gonna go for a drink. I think he may head down to the actual pan itself. No, I think he's followed on the trail of Corley. You see how his trunk is just keep on moving along the ground? It's definitely following Corley's trail, because Corley, he came here to this waterhole. He didn't go down to the water itself. He's following up behind him. Rolling Trouble, yeah, he is definitely an elephant to say hello to. Shame, I think he's trying to catch up with that older bull that was here. It might be like his safety, his big bull brother.
Lovely splash of red. Just look at that beautiful flower. You got that sort of like red little, almost like bird beaks coming out. And that is one of the coral trees, also known as erythrinas or erythrina, some also referred to. And out here, there's the only species that we find here of the coral trees is the dwarf coral tree, Erythrina humiana.
A little morsel for her, but you can see she's caught lots of things. And as I was saying before, that garbage line, that's all the sort of exoskeletons of other things that she caught, and she piles them up there, potentially so she's not so obvious to her main predators, which will be a bird. And also it's a visual cue, because it's a huge web that she's got. If Biko, if you can zoom out a little bit, you can see that whole web spans the gap in between these two trees, probably about 2 meters across. So pretty much all the way from that tree you can see on the left, all the way to that tree on the right, that web is there, and that takes a lot of energy, and that web will last so long as it doesn't get broken. We were talking about walking safaris. If you walk into one of those, you pretty much just get bounced backwards. So one of the other reasons we think that they sit in the middle of their web close to that garbage line is a visual cue for us and for other animals walking through the bushes that basically says, please don't walk through my house and destroy it. Don't forget, if you have missed any of this morning's drive, you can go to our app and have a look at our best bits and highlights and see all the stuff that you missed. Judy, you're welcome. I'm glad you've enjoyed the drive. Yeah, it's been quite an exciting one here on Djuma. We've had a variety of different things. Very tough to get that hyena. I'm still not 100% sure. Somebody, I think, suggested Nkwazi, but not one that we see regularly. Excuse me, there's a frog in my throat as well. We had some lovely elephants, and then, of course, we were graced with a brief but beautiful sighting of the little prince himself, Mr. Fluffy Ears Maribye. But we are almost out of time now, unfortunately. So we're going to end off just enjoying the views of this, I would say, terrifying looking spider, but it's not that terrifying. Not that I particularly want one on me. To give you an idea of perspective, that would cover the entire size of the palm of my hand, certainly. But yeah, we're almost out of time, so don't forget Escape to Nature. We'll be carrying on straight from the Sunrise Safari. Don't forget to catch up with the highlights on the app. And from myself and Ralph and Nick, we're glad you've enjoyed the morning's drive and hope you'll be joining us for the Sunset Safari, and we will be out again from 3:30 Central African time. But wherever you are, have a wonderful day, and we will chat to you again very, very soon, I'm sure.